Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another week of Certified Cinema. How have you been doing, ladies and gentlemen? I hope your week has been great since we last saw each other and since we last interacted. Welcome to Certified Cinema, and you are listening to Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug, and Certified Cinema is your number one plug for all things movies and TV shows, and I am your ever dependable movie reviewer, movie recommender, and nerd evangelist, Campes Nawiri, and I am your host today. And I hope you have been fantastic, and I want to say thank you. Always, always, always. I will be forever grateful to you guys for always tuning in. Ever since we started, we've been on a hell of a journey, and because of you, we are expanding. And speaking of expansion, we are going to be talking about all the exclusives that we've been through this week and everything that we're going to be updating you on this week. And you had it here first, along with a fantastic playlist. But before we go further, ladies and gentlemen, as much as it is a very joyous occasion and moment to always be here with you each and every Thursday, each and every minute, it is a very, very sad week here at Icon Radio. We would like to announce the passing of Icon Radio's very own Geoffrey Karongo, better known to all of you as Tesh the DJ, a very energetic and beloved individual, a friend to all of us here, and a very, very integral part to the team. And for me especially, because he is the one who introduced me to the operations here at Icon Radio. So this is very personal to me. He has been behind the scenes for each and every of my shows ever since I started. And he is also the host of Riding Shotgun, which is a show that plays here at Icon Radio every 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So ladies and gentlemen, as the Icon community, we are a legend, and we are in deep mourning. And let us observe a moment of silence for Tesh the DJ. And may his soul rest in eternal peace. Tesh, wherever you are, we love you, we miss you, and you can rest now because you are home. So stay tuned to our pages. We'll let you know on the ongoings. If you want to reach out to the family and offer your condolences, we will let you know if the family allows that. For now, feel free to share your condolences through our pages. Show your love for Tesh the DJ, and let us give his soul the befitting farewell that he deserves. And as we open the show, we started with Birds Don't Sing by Clips featuring John Legend, which is a song about grief as we mourn the beloved and showing love to those that remain. And we dedicate this to you, Tesh. This one goes out to you. You're home, bro. Birds don't sing, but you sing forever in our hearts. So, what do we have lined up for you today? Today we're going to have a very chill and very one-on-one interactive session. You know, we had a very stacked week last week. Particularly November 7th. November 7th, for me, goes down as one of the most stacked release dates of the year, and maybe even of the century, of the decade, because we had 4 heavy hitters last week, and today we're going to be highlighting 2 of them. That is Pluribus Season 1, which has 2 episodes out. This is a heavy hitter because it's brought to you by the creator of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Vince Gilligan is back with another one, which is Pluribus, and we know him. We know the absolute bangers. We know the absolute banger of a show that Breaking Bad is, the absolute banger that Better Call Saul is. And this time he's taking a different approach. It's a new universe and a totally new genre. We used to seeing him in crime thrillers, but this is sci-fi. Like, where is he heading with this? So we're going to be doing the review of the first 2 episodes of that. And of course, Guillermo del Toro gave us an absolute banger of a movie with the Frankenstein that came out on November 7th as well on Netflix. So I hope you guys have seen this. You've been at home all weekend, hata kama umekuwa on the road. Netflix haiko accessible. It's on your phone, it's on your laptop, it's on your TVs. I'm sure you've seen this, and it has caused a frenzy, among movie lovers, because it's frankly a very, very beautiful movie. We'll get to that. And of course, you're going to be hearing the latest and the greatest that's been happening around the movie scene, the TV scene, and all things pop culture and entertainment. We will, of course, also get to Read the Room, which is the segment where we highlight movies and TV shows to watch this week based on global happenings in entertainment and in current affairs. And finally, of course, here at Certified Cinema, we bring you the heat and we bring the hits. So a fantastic fire playlist for you as well. Sprinkle up on a movie, theme songs na wase wangu wa anime mta eat good, because we also have a few announcements coming when it comes to anime. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. And now, without further ado, let's talk about Vince Gilligan. Let's talk about Pluribus. First of all, I have to slow down kidogo when I pronounce this name Pluribus, because it's quite a tongue twister, mazi. Kidogo ni jiume ulimi, Pluribus. Sasa watu wangu wa mrima mtafanyaje hizo ma L na ma R. This is not a stretch. But yes, Pluribus, ladies and gentlemen, as we said. Now, this is a big one because Vince Gilligan is back. He is back with a new original story. We've been talking about how we need original stories in the landscape right now, because it's all prequels and sequels and reboots. But once in a while, especially this year, I feel like the industry has been generous to give us originals. So when we get an original from Vince Gilligan, who is a man who has one of the top-rated TV shows in history, Breaking Bad, we are sat. We listen and we watch, because this might be another magnum opus in his hands, because we open with a lot of mystery. Now, the brief that we have gotten during the trailers is, we follow this woman who's played by Rhea Seehorn, who was Kim Wexler in Better Call Saul. You know the face, you know the name, and she's the star in this one. So we follow her as, people around the world are trying to make her miserable, happy, because she's miserable. She's quoted as a miserable woman, if not the most miserable woman in the world. And the whole world is trying to make her happy, which raises question. Why is the entire world trying to make her happy? And why is she so miserable? And then we have the tag sci-fi, like Vince Gilligan and sci-fi. So what's the story? So now we start off with, and hold up. This is a very light spoiler review, because bado mko na 2 weeks, bado tuko kwa 1 week. So I'm playing it safe for you guys because I love you. So we start off with, it starts off very mundanely, right? Like, we don't get to meet the main character until, like, I don't know, minute 10, minute 12 in the movie, in the series, sorry. So we start off when a mysterious signal is sent to Earth. So this group of astronomers pick up this signal that has been sent to Earth from far away in the universe. And they go through this process. There's this very high-octane comedic sequence where a number of astronomers call each other trying to figure out, is it legit? Is it just a stray signal that's bounced off the moon? But they realize this is actually very sequential. It's not a random signal that has been bounced off the moon or a solar flare. It's very strategic. It's Morse code, and it seems like there's a message in this. So they figure out what the message is about, and it turns out it's a recipe for certain chemical. So is it an antidote? What is it? So they try and figure out this new compound. Is it what it does to human beings? But they start off with animal testing, with lab rats. But turns out this thing doesn't work on animals. It works on humans. So a mishap happens. I won't tell you what, so that you go see it. And one of the humans gets infected. After the infection, now he starts infecting everyone around the world. And turns out that this is a hive mind. For those who don't know what a hive mind is, it's like you have separate individuals, but they all have one mind. It's like they're all one entity who think the same, who have the same thoughts, have the same feelings. It's like one entity but spread out throughout and different individuals. And turns out that this is an invasion that has happened throughout the universe. But Carol and some other few human beings are immune to this. Only 11 people around the world are immune to this infection. Carol, played by Rhea Seehorn, being one of them. She loses her wife. And some people's bodies also reject this infection. So people around the world have either been turned into the hive mind. People around the world are either dead because their bodies have rejected the hive mind, or they survived. But survivors, like I said, are only 11, one of them including Carol. So she's very miserable because she doesn't understand, all this is very sudden. Imagine you're a respected individual within a certain community, just come from meeting your fans, and then same evening you're out in the bar with your wife, and then everyone else is just falling down. Everyone freezes. Everyone's been infected. Everyone's a hive mind, and your wife's body rejects it, and she's dead. You would be miserable. Like, come on. I would be miserable as well. Like, I just lost the love of my life last night, and then you're telling me I have to convert. So they go through this back and forth. She opens her TV, she finds someone from the White House who is a spokesman for the hive mind, and she's telling her, your life is your own, but we will do everything in our power to make sure that you're satisfied, and then you will also have the choice to join us. So now we follow her through this. It's very story driven, where we follow Carol as we try to unravel what the hell is going on Earth. What's happening with these 11 characters? Why these 11? Why did some of them perish? When you say we as the hive mind, who is we? The entire Earth and the entire universe? How many of you are there? How do we save humanity? Those are the questions that Carol is grasping with. And so far, we've gotten a very emotional take as through the eyes of Carol, because she's very distraught and she's very, very angry. But it also allows us to explore her, because through each interaction, we have people who have settled into the hive mind, and you're like, you haven't settled, but we'll make you happy. And she's there cussing them out. Is she just a miserable and inherently angry person, such that even another entity cannot possess her mind and soul? And the funny thing is, every time she has a fit of rage and anger and crashes out at those individuals with the hive mind, they all sort of freeze and get into this seizure. Which begs the question, is her character so toxic that it affects an entire hive mind, and those people who are freezing and seizuring are only on Earth, and this is an infection that's taken over the entire universe? Is she so toxic that her toxicity can affect the entire universe? Those are the main questions. So you see, it was very to start off with episode 1. Episode 1 was very, very, very disorienting. I felt like I was Carol in that episode, because what the hell is going on? Who are these guys? What are your objectives? Why are people dying? Why are some not dying? And why is Carol still alive and walking and she's okay? What's going on? And episode 1 for me takes the cake, because again, Vince Gilligan has this thing where he knows how to induce a lot of mystery. And that's the one word that I will use to describe these 2 episodes: mystery. Every time you watch it, you're constantly like, what's going on, man? Like, who are these people? What's happening? It's genuine mystery and genuine curiosity. And the way we follow Kim through her journey, keeps on raising more questions. Now, by episode 2, things are a bit more settled. We've made peace with the invasion that's happened. We've gotten an understanding of this invasion that's happening, that it's a hive mind, thanks to that exposition that's been done in a very clever way, where it's Carol and this White House representative talking through the screen, and he's answering all her questions, telling her your life is your own, and this is who we are. We don't know how it started. We don't know where it's going to end, but it's happening across the universe, and you happen to be one of those who haven't turned. Now, episode 2 takes a bit of a subtle and more personal approach. Now we get to follow her as she's picking up the pieces. We start with understanding one of the individuals who has been chosen by the entity to talk to Carol, because the entity chooses one person who can best communicate to Carol so that she feels more comfortable. So far, it seems like they're doing all their best to make everyone who hasn't been turned comfortable. Now, what we don't know is this a tactic to make them lower their guard and then eventually change? That's a question that we have in mind. And we get to see more of it because Carol gets to meet the others around the world who haven't been turned. And they seem to be at peace, like the world is not so bad right now. We all are of one mind. No one's stealing from each other. No one's robbing each other. No one is getting their heart broken because we are all one. And for us who have survived, our family is still here. The entity is gracious enough to talk to us and talk to, if it's me, as me, because I'm with my family. But Carol is like, guys, are you not seeing that you've been robbed of your humanity, that your loved ones have been robbed of their humanity? You're not speaking to your father. You're not speaking to your son or your aunt. You're speaking to the hive mind. They have their memories. They have that individual's memories, but it's not them. They don't have their soul. Do you not care about that? So Carol is pushing back against them. So we get to see more insight into Carol's state of mind and the questions that arise in terms of us as humans, our soul, and even if things are right, even if we have the entire universe at our every beck and call, do we take that opportunity as is, or will we fight for our souls and for our humanity? Now that's the question that is lingering so far and what we're yet to see. Now that's the story so far. And what intrigues me the most, what I love about this, first of all, is let's talk about Vince Gilligan for a minute. This is way off tangent from what we've seen him doing over the last 10 years when Breaking Bad came out, probably even more than that. To his credit, he has come up with another story that's outside of the Breaking Bad universe. Because again, he started out off with Breaking Bad, and then we had El Camino, and then Better Call Saul, which these are TV shows from the same universe, just following different characters. This is something way, way different. It's a new original story. And it's good to see that even, there's this suspicion that I had that he's so used to this one universe. Could this be his magnum opus? Could this be his one and done? Is he the kind of creator who is a one-hit wonder? It's just that his project has been stretched over the years and he's done spin-offs of the same story and of the same universe. This is something different. Will he maintain the same quality, the same intrigue, the same bangers, the same kind of very gripping stories that he has given us for since the last 10 years plus. Is he bringing that same quality to this, or is he just is he a one-trick pony with the Breaking Bad universe? But so far, that myth is being busted. That idea for me is being refuted. And that's what I love about it. Because we're getting to see him in a new light, a totally different genre. And it seems that this has the potential to be another great one in the books for Vince Gilligan. There's this thing that he always does that I was even talking about with a friend of mine that I was watching the episode with. Vince Gilligan has, I would say, is one of the best minds in the industry. He is one of those people who knows how to start an episode. We usually start off way off tangent. Like sometimes we'll start with most of the time we'll start with a character who we don't even know doing something that is not even connected to the last episode. We used to seeing TV shows where the episode ends on a cliffhanger, and then episode 2 picks up where that cliffhanger ended, or trying to connect it where the last episode ended. But with Vince Gilligan, we'll have episode 1, and then episode 2 will start somewhere way different. A character we don't know in a land we've never heard of, that we haven't been introduced to, and they're doing stuff that is not even related to the previous episode, or stuff that we haven't seen. So it always keeps you glued to the screen like, what's going on, right? And we did that with episode 2, where we start off with this pirate lady. Carol calls her pirate lady. And they're clearing bodies. She's flying on a plane. And up until minute 7, no one has spoken a word. We haven't even met the main character yet. But we're still glued to the screens. I love how he does that. And it's good to see that he has the same flair and the same kind of mystery and curiosity spiking storytelling in this new show. That's so far what I feel is the strength of it, because so far I still know nothing about what's going to happen. All I know is from all I've seen in episode 1 and episode 2, and that for me is a recipe for another goated show. A show that keeps you wondering, a show that keeps you hooked to the story, a show that keeps you invested in the characters because you want to see how their story plays out. There is the danger of, and which is a danger that sci-fi movies also makes sci-fi movies and properties and like TV shows falter, even comic books, which is there is a danger in getting lost in the concept rather than the story and the characters. Take, for example, Tenet by Christopher Nolan. Goated director, probably a favorite for many. But Tenet got tangled in its concept and its theme, which is the concept of entropy. And, you're moving forward in time, but you're in a universe where things are moving backwards. Now, on paper, it's an interesting story. Like, you don't fire a bullet, the gun comes to the bullet, and you also have to grasp and your mind gets boggled in this curiosity and trying to make sense of what things are happening. But prioritizing that means every time characters have to stop and explain what's happening. We don't have time to see and understand that concept through the lives of the characters. And even with the character, he didn't have a name. He was called the protagonist in Tenet. That is the danger that I hope Vince Gilligan will not face with Pluribus, because so far we have a very engrossing story, but we still are yet to understand what is the hive mind, what are they trying to achieve, who is the rest, who is we in terms of the universe, where did this signal come from. I hope that the story doesn't get entangled in trying to explain to us all these questions and this concept of the hive mind and how it works and how it's been invasive in the universe, and we end up losing sight of Carol's story, because so far she's been the one who is making us invested, and she's the one who is allowing us to make sense of everything. So if Vince Gilligan, I'm really keeping my fingers crossed. Again, I trust in Vince Gilligan. I trust in his storytelling, in how he keeps us glued. But if he lets the concept override, if he lets the concept want to grow bigger than the story, then this show may fall face flat on the ground and may not make it to the books of one of the goated shows in history. And that is what we expect of Vince Gilligan. So I'm praying for the man. I believe in him. I trust him. Let's stay tuned to see more episodes as they drop. So far, 2 episodes out. If you haven't seen them, go catch them. If you have Apple TV, nipatie logins. So we're going to go on a short break, ladies and gentlemen. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about Frankenstein. Wadaudettes. Welcome back to Certified Cinema. Welcome back from a fantastic music break. Short and sharp. Wase wangu wa uns nimewaplug hapo, watu wangu wa electronic music. Nothing slaps harder than a Kaytranada kick. Oh, and that's why we had Kaytranada with Do It. That was from his latest album. This song is called Do It, featuring TLC. And then finally we brought it back home because we like to play Kenyan music here. We had Mad G would Shake That Thing. So kama ukona kuela fine. Shake that thing. And now let's shake the reviews. Let's shake the world. I'm about to upset some people because I know this is not an everyday person's movie. Lakini sisi cinephiles, wacheni tu tusikie vizuri. Within my circles, I don't know about the casual viewer, but within my circles, we cannot stop raving about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Oh my God. Absolute masterpiece, man. I haven't watched a movie that this year that has had me so drawn to thinking about humanity, and that has made the feeling of beauty so prevalent within my mind. And I love that it does that by showing us kind of the grotesque nature of humanity through the Frankenstein monster. For those who don't know, Guillermo del Toro gives us his vision about the story of Frankenstein. And for my international audience, watu wangu from, if you're a Spanish-speaking individual, please, am I butchering the goat's name? Am I butchering? Is it Guillermo? Guillermo? Please, educate us, man. Feel free to leave a comment on Icon Radio KE on Instagram, or send us a voice note of how I pronounce it on our WhatsApp number running below your screen. So this is directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Oscar Isaac. You probably know him from Moon Knight in Marvel's Moon Knight. You know him from Star Wars. I mean, he's been all around. And starring Euphoria's Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi plays the Frankenstein monster, and Oscar Isaac plays Frankenstein himself. Now, like I said, this is adapted from the classical story of Frankenstein, the novel, which is a man. Frankenstein is a man of science who is obsessed with conquering death. He is a man obsessed with finding ways to create man, who to bring alive man, and a man who cannot die. And that's when the Frankenstein monster comes in. I believe we know the story. Like Halloween imepita juzi, kuna watu wamefanya cosplay ya the Frankenstein monster. So he's a man of science. He picks up decayed body parts from the spoils of war. He's funded by his uncle-in-law to be. He puts together these body parts using the science, the knowledge of anatomy and science that he uses. And, we all know the famous scene where he puts the body in a crucifix, puts up the lightning rod atop his tower. Lightning strikes, life is breathed into the monster, and then he goes, "It's alive, it's alive." We know that, we've heard of that, we know the story. But this time, Guillermo del Toro gives it more nuance. He gives the story more personality, And I'm going to compare this to the 1930s movie, which I've seen clips of, so that we can get an understanding of why this is different and why this is it matters and why you should see it. Now, you see, the 30s movie was a bit theatrical. It was an introduction of the Frankenstein monster to the global audience. It was etching the Frankenstein monster into monster history. That's why he's so timeless. That's why you have iterations of him, even in like the Addams Family, and that's why we cosplay him up to this day. He's a classic. But with this version, with the 30s version, he was more of a beast. He was just a mindless monster who is a freak of nature, who is going out exacting his revenge as to why he is in the world. And he had this more of a killer vibe going on. But with Guillermo del Toro, he takes a more personal and deep approach in telling us the story of each character. We get to feel Frankenstein, why he is who he is, why he's so obsessed with conquering death. We get to see the Frankenstein monster. How is it for him to be brought into this world unwanted and to be branded a monster, to want to experience the beauty of life, experience how you want to experience everything in its fullness, because life is fleeting, how lonely it is and how it can be to be alive. And we also we have this overarching theme of death and how we look at it. Some people look at death as ending of life and tragic. Some people look at it as celebration. But all of us can agree, regardless of whether you stand, we can all agree that death is inevitable. And the question is it necessary? Some people would say yes, because that is what gives life meaning. We rush to spend time with our loved ones. We rush to achieve goals. We rush to achieve, whatever goals it is that we want. Is it fame? Is it money? Is it love? We all rush to get all this because we know our time here on earth is limited. And because we get the chance to enjoy and to chase these things and experience these things within a short period, that's what makes it beautiful, is it not? Let's argue about that. Are we here for a good time or for a long time? And that's what we hear people arguing about. I don't want to live until 70 or like 100 when I can't move, I can't feel my face, I can't chew because I don't have teeth, I'm struggling with my health. Like, let me be here for a short time, because that's what makes life worth living, because I'm living fast, Is that how we should be living? Is that how we look at death? And that's what the Frankenstein monster kind of counters. Forgive me because I'm wrapping my head around this as we go. Now, I love that this story uh, is a 2-chapter story. First, we see the story through Frankenstein himself. So we start with him. First of all, we start in a Vince Gilligan kind of way, because you know Frankenstein, so we expect to start with Frankenstein and his escapades. But we take a non-linear approach. We start with this crew that has been stuck on their journey to the North Pole. So the ship is frozen in ice. They're struggling to dislodge it from ice so that they could be free and continue on their expedition. Now the captain is stuck in this position where the mission must be complete. We have to get to the North Pole. But his co-captain is telling him the men are demoralized. We have to sail back home. But then there's an explosion somewhere in the distance. They go there, they find Frankenstein with a broken leg, and all of a sudden there's this creature of the night that's attacking them, and it's yelling out for Frankenstein. It's yelling out for Victor Frankenstein. He's mowing down the captain's men, but his eyes and his target is fixated on Frankenstein. He gets Frankenstein, no one else has to die. But they manage to, there's this bit of an action scene, and they manage to push him off the boat. And so we sit down with Frankenstein, like, who are you? What's your story? What's going on? What is that creature over there? And then now he starts his life story, telling us about how it started with his father, which is, by the way, a weird place to start, because, imagine meeting someone and the first thing they tell you is, it started with my father and how he used to mistreat me, and he was the lead surgeon in the region, and I became obsessed with death. It's like, bro, I just want to know what is that creature, and why you were caught in an explosion in the middle of Oslo. Na wewe ni kilema uko na mguu moja. What are you doing out here, bruh? Tell me. But the story itself is intriguing, that even at some point the captain was like, okay, tell me more, my boy. So yeah, he tells us his story about his family, how his father was a surgeon, how he lost his mother, how he was also being brought into the family trade to be a surgeon. And after losing his mother, the pain he felt when he lost his mother, he decided, I will conquer death. I will find a way to reanimate life, and I will use this. I will become a better surgeon than my father and use that knowledge to conquer death. His idea of conquering death is bringing the dead back to life. And so he does that by collecting body parts. He knows the anatomy, he knows the nervous system, lymphatic system, the circulatory system. He does his best to conjure that up and convince the society of is it doctors of science, of medicine, yeah, that this is the way that we should go. But everyone thinks he's mad, of course, because why? Why would you want to do that? Everyone believes life is given by God, and God is the one who takes away that life. So he gets to meet a certain gentleman played by Christoph Waltz, who agrees to fund his research in exchange for something. He doesn't say yet. So he funds the whole thing, he allows the research, and then finally Frankenstein puts this thing together, and he says, you know what, if this thing works, I want you to put my brain in this new body because I'm suffering from a certain infection and my time is up. And I want my new brain in this new body if it works. Of course, he disagrees. Things go haywire. He loses the man. And the Frankenstein monster is brought to life. So I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's also a lot about Frankenstein's brother, how he has eyes for his brother's betrothed, who is played by Mia Goth. He starts lasting over his brother's wife to be. So there's an entanglement there. There's a lot of personal drama going on, and he's seeing his brother's wife to be perspective on life, and the idea of wanting to bring the dead back to life. it could be a crazy idea. So there's this conflict of ideas that I love how they bounce off each other. But the beauty of it comes in when, it's easy to relate to Frankenstein. But how do we relate to the Frankenstein monster? That's the beauty of the movie, because it humanizes him and makes us, he's very poetic. The dialogue is another thing that does the movie so a lot of justice. Everyone speaks so poetically. I don't know if people used to speak this in the 1800s, but I love how everyone is so extra with their expressions, because he makes everything so personal. Once he learns to speak, we get to see his journey, how he was brought to life, how Frankenstein tried to kill him in a bid to cover his works. Once Frankenstein realizes he's made a mistake, and this is an abomination because this is a savage, he refers to the Frankenstein monster as it, But what he forgets is he's created life. This is a being with a mind of its own, and in some way is also a human. He's been made from all the body parts of a human, and now he is finding his soul. This journey of him finding his soul is what is so beautiful. He's so sympathetic, and he has this childlike curiosity and way of moving through life, which I found so gripping. And that's what I think sets apart Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein from any other portrayal of the Frankenstein monster that we've seen, in that we get to see the story through the eyes of the monster. We start off by calling him the Frankenstein monster, but this time I would use this in quotes. Is he a monster because of the way he looks? Or is he one of us because he feels more and yearns for more out of life, given that he never got to experience it? That is the great question that Frankenstein, the movie, poses. I felt, you come out of this with a lot of questions about existence and how we view death and how life can be fleeting and how we take for granted our existence on earth because some people are yearning for that. We may not know the certain situation. It could be through sickness, it could be through tragedy, but the Frankenstein monster is a representation of, I'd like to think, is a representation of people around us, wherever parts of the world, that don't have the chance to experience the little things, the mundanities that make up what life is. You're born into this world, you're branded to be a certain type of way, and that's what you have to live with throughout your entire life. And that's the beauty of the Frankenstein monster. Now we're going to do a deep dive into this, of course, into the themes of death, into the themes of life, existential crisis. Shout out to Joko Buthi, our resident philosopher, who helped us go through, the moral dilemma when we were talking about the Fantastic Four. We may have him here in studio once again, so stay tuned. But if you guys have any thoughts, any questions, any comments, feel free to chat us up at Icon Radio KE, Certified Cinema KE on Instagram, or send us your voice note on WhatsApp on the number running below your screen. So, going to a short music break, and up next, news and updates. Leading us into that music break is Nyashinsky with Tai Chi. Welcome back. As always, unajua tunakuanga na bangers lined up for my people, After hapo tumetoka kusikia Kai Kai Kitan. That is from Jujutsu Kaisen, the opening of season 1. Right before that, we have Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, which is becoming a staple here. And at this point, it's for me, not for you. I always have to go home. Kama nimesikia hiyo, otherwise ndalala hapa. Before that, we had the absolute banger that's taking over the Kenyan airwaves. That was Rumors by Iani featuring Dufla. Before that, Sam Jelaitri with Assumptions, and again Nyashinsky with Tai Chi. And now it is time for news and updates. So what's the latest that's been going on? And I want to first of all start with what's going on back home. MTV Shuga Mashariki Season 2 is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is straight from the horse's mouth. Right now they are wrapping up filming, and Season 2, well, I don't know the release dates, but trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it is coming up very, very soon. We had the privilege of being on location yesterday where the season was being shot. One of the episodes was in production, so a few days left to go until production is done with. Not production per se, shooting is done. A few days left to go, but you'll be hearing more from us as time goes by, and of course we will be courteous enough to bring you the faces of the show, both the cast and the crew and the minds behind the ideas here on the show, so that you could ask them your questions and so that we can have a one-on-one with them to get to know more about the upcoming season. Now, Season 1 came and went. Season 1 came in, disrupted, and went, to be more accurate. Now, Shuga has been a staple for the Kenyan youth because it highlights the Nairobi life and also sensitizes us about HIV and AIDS through the MTV Staying Alive Foundation. This time we got a new glimpse into the life of Nairobi through a new generation, which is the Gen Z generation, that made up a bulk of the cast of this new iteration of MTV Shuga. But now they're coming in with more changes with Season 2 and you know, becoming more progressive, not just on set but also behind the scenes, because this time it's a more women-led initiative this time. Now, MTV Staying Alive have partnered with She Moves Africa Films, which is a women-led film production company that is spearheading the production of Shuga Season 2. And this time, who do we have in the reins? Now we have new directors coming in, also very female-led. We have two new directors coming in, joining in the cast, the crew that was producing Season 1. Now, what many people might not know is because TV show has numerous directors, because each episode has a story or a theme that it's trying to bring forth. And given a story like MTV Shuga, which has a lot to cover, from mental wellness to sensitization about HIV and AIDS, to also like Season 1 covering stories like femicide that's going on in the society right now, especially in Africa. We've seen women changing their profile pictures to purple in solidarity and to bring awareness to domestic violence. These are themes that Shuga wants to capture and to bring to light and to tell us as they're happening within the Gen Z generation, which makes up a bulk of the youth in our country right now. So these are the important issues that are being covered with MTV Shuga Mashariki, and we have a new creative team. Now we'll give you more details as time goes by, but to get to see the progress as it's unfolding right now, log on to iconradio.co.ke and read the latest article that we've published about MTV Shuga Mashariki. I will of course be definitely tuning in with this one. I had my gripes and issues with Season 1, but that still doesn't stop the excitement given the progress that we are seeing behind the scenes. Great minds think alike, and it seems like the team is well intentioned with this one, so that can't stop the excitement that we have for MTV Shuga Mashariki Season 2. So stay tuned for more details as they unfold. Number 2, let's talk about a few teaser trailers that have been dropped this last week. And this brings me to Super Mario Galaxy. Now, we got the trailer that dropped this week, and the news with this one is that Super Mario Galaxy is coming next year in 2026, and the date to be precise is, let me just check this real quick, April 3rd. Now, this is well timed because it always comes out during the holidays, so it's good for family. But the thing with Super Mario is it's cross-generational at this point, because people my age are the ones who grew up with Super Mario. Remember when your parents would buy a DVD or a VCD, and it would come with this disc, 300 games, with 300 arcade games, and Super Mario was one of them. Most of us grew up with that. Most of us grew up on Game Boy and Nintendo. Super Mario has carried us through the ages as a video game. And when we finally got to see the movie in 2023, our hearts were full, and it went on ahead to make $1 billion at the box office. Now, not to say that big numbers equate to a good movie, but it definitely is an indicator of interest that people want to see this movie. And I love that people came up for this and brought in their kids, their younger brothers and sisters, and we should absolutely turn up for this one. One, it looks amazing. Like, they haven't dropped the quality on that one, and I'm sure it's going to look fantastic again on the big screen. I'm not sure if it's getting an IMAX release. The more they keep dropping trailers and teasers, the more we'll know. But this time we know from what we've seen is that Bowser Jr. is coming into the fray with this one, and is coming to save his father, who is Bowser the Big Bad. And that's where we ended up. We ended Super Mario, the 2023 version on, where Bowser had been miniaturized and is being held captive by Luigi and Mario. Not captive per se, because he seems to be having fun. He has his own miniature castle. He's doing his own little paintings. He gets to talk to them. But it seems like this time it's taking a more personal and a more familial approach. And we all love a story about family, and we're getting introduced to bits that we had seen and we're used to seeing in video games, which is traveling between galaxies. We got to see Princess Rosalina is in this one. I'm definitely not gonna lie, I don't know who Princess Rosalina is, but I'm intrigued because she's being voiced by the one and only Captain Marvel, Brie Larson. She is bringing Princess Rosalina to life on this one, and so I'm intrigued to see this. Guys who've played Super Mario Kart and who know the entire lore of Super Mario, please educate us. Why should we be more excited about Princess Rosalina besides the kick-ass scene that we've seen in the trailer and the fact that she's being voiced by Brie Larson? So again, me personally, I love how it looks. I love how the first one went. Fun time at the cinema. I love that it's nostalgic, that we're talking about something that we grew up with, and it's something that we're going to be introducing our younger audiences to, which also brings me to number 3, Toy Story 5. Today we're going to be talking about animation all day. The thing that I see between these two things, allow me to talk about Toy Story 5 first before I go on a tangent. Toy Story 5 also got a teaser that dropped this week. This time we're seeing, the toys that we've used to see, we've been seeing from Toy Story 1 all the way to Toy Story 4, facing a new threat. Now, always with Toy Story, they face a new threat with the introduction of a new toy. Now, they've been traumatized with a new toy coming up, but this time, is it a new toy or a new way of life? Because the reveal was they are being introduced to an iPad. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, an iPad, guys. There's this talk about how the new generation of kids no longer play with toys, no longer go outside. The iPad generation. That's what this is tagging along. It's tagging along at that string. The iPad generation versus toys. Are the toys finally going to be drifted out of relevance, given that they are facing off with the new kid on the block that is an iPad? Another thing that comes up in question is that we got Woody. Woody is back. I mean, from where we ended, Woody had shifted locations. So Pixar better come up with a good explanation. Like, why is Woody back? Now, of course, it's a trailer. We don't know much. So there's a lot of questions. But that's a big one. Like, why is Woody back? And how? And is this a new kid or is it the same kid? That's something that always also kind of has me thinking and curious. Do these kids never age, or is Toy Story set in just a certain time period? Because it's definitely not in 2025. Because if you're talking about the iPad generation, we have way far gone with that generation. That pandemic, so to speak, if I'm to be a bit dramatic, has been going on for a while. So is it set in a certain timeline? We'll know more about it. But again, I love that this is an opportunity to bring in a new and younger audience into a culture that we grew up with. We grew up with Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. 4 came in, so the adulting imeanza to kick in the ass. But now we are fully fledged adults, and we have the chance to bring in our younger brothers and sisters to enjoy the cultural phenomenon and an animation staple that is Toy Story 5. And another question is, will this be the savior for Pixar? Now, Pixar has, been on the receiving end with box office bombs. Of course, wonderful and beautiful stories, but they're still not making money. Again, big box office numbers doesn't always equate to a good story. But, these movies need to be supported. People need to buy tickets. The movies need to make money for the studios to survive. And so far, Pixar hasn't had a good run. Especially with original stories. So if Pixar dies, this means the death of a studio that has carried us along throughout our childhood, giving us the likes of WALL-E and Incredibles and Toy Story as well, through Toy Story 1 and 4. Toy Story 1 and 4 has gotten stellar reviews and people have loved it. But Pixar has been dropping the ball the last few years, so to speak. It needs a savior. And that's the conundrum. Is Toy Story 5 going to be so good that it will save Pixar? Or has Pixar been dropping the ball consistently? Has that become the Pixar culture? So much so that they are going to drop the ball on Toy Story 5. So the fate of Pixar is kind of in Toy Story 5's hands right now. If it's a good story, Pixar is saved. If it's a bad story, the bad run with Pixar continues. I hope Toy Story 5 will not let us down. But tell me what you think in the comment section. Certified Cinema KE on Instagram, Icon Radio KE on Instagram as well. If you want to get personal, send your voice note and your opinions and comments to our WhatsApp number running below your screen. And we will come back after a short music break with Read the Room. And leading us into that break is the one, the only, the glorious, the magnificent Ashake, who has given us a fantastic performance with the Red Bull Symphonic that happened last week. And so this one is coming back to relevance right now. It is Ashake with Remember. Just coming back from some straight fire with that Red Bull Spiral freestyle, man. The West Coast is not playing, man. YG400, Mosey, and J Rock on that Red Bull Spiral freestyle, man. And let me say, it just feels good to see my boy J Rock back on the mic. Oh man, that was absolutely cathartic. The flow is there, the hunger is there, the aggression is there, and not just him, but everyone else. But for me especially, I loved seeing him because it's been a while, my boy. Welcome back. And once again, that was the Red Bull Spiral Freestyle, just dropped yesterday. The West Coast sending a message, YG400, Mosey, and J Rock. Before that, we had I Star featuring Rema with Who's That Girl? And of course, your boy, Mr. Money himself, Asha K with Remember. And now it is time to read the room, ladies and gentlemen. Your favorite segment that makes you call me the movie recommender. Now, this is the segment where we highlight movies and TV shows to watch this week based on global happenings in entertainment and in current affairs. And for the first week of the night, we have Running Man. Now, Running Man is dropping in cinemas tomorrow. So if you're looking for something to do, a place to hang out, always run to the cinemas. This time it's also dropping in IMAX and it's coming out November 14th tomorrow. Now, Running Man is a Death Games movie. Remember earlier in the year when we were talking about the Death Games genre, where we have a contestant in a tricky life situation, but is being forced to play a game where he is put to the death versus other contestants in the promise of making a big amount of money. Kind of like Squid Games, but this time he's running, literally like running throughout the city, through the forest, through wherever, as people are trying to hunt him, and he has to survive across 30 days as he is being hunted. If he survives, he keeps the money and he is the winner. This time, the Running Man is being played by Glenn Powell. You've seen him in Top Gun. You've seen him where else? I mean, he's been around, man. There's this Sydney Sweeney movie he did. Glenn Powell has been on an absolute run, and he's etching himself in cinema history. You know, he's gearing up to be one of the most memorable movie stars of our generation. So watch this space. But this time we also have Josh Brolin. We have Jamie Lawson in this one. You know, Jamie Lawson, we know her from as Pauline in Sinners. Josh Brolin as Thanos in MCU. We have Coleman Domingo. Oh man, you know, everyone talks about how he knows how to put that shit on the red carpet, so definitely he will be putting it on this one. He is the host in this one. And fun fact, this is a remake of the 1987 movie by the same name, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. So if you loved Arnold and were a fan of his, if you're a fan of the death genre, The Running Man is for you. Catch it in cinemas November 14th. See it in the biggest screen possible. After that, November 14th, again in the cinemas, we have Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Now, remember those magic movies where we had this group of magicians calling themselves the Horsemen, and they would go around doing a heist, but they were very creative with it, where they do magic shows in public and magic tricks to make sure they get their way around these heists. They are back, led by Jesse Eisenberg in this one. This is the third movie in the installment, also coming out November 14th. And the crew is back. Dave Franco is back. Woody Harrelson is back. Again, Jesse Eisenberg is back. And they seem to be taking in a new wing of recruits, a younger generation, to become the new Horsemen. So will you be tuning in for this one? Definitely. So it's a double feature this weekend. So we have Running Man, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, coming out all on the same day, November 14th in cinemas. Finally, coming to Netflix, we have Last Samurai Standing. I don't know, is it death genre week or something? Because this is also another death genre TV show. But this one is a bit of a period piece that takes place in feudal Japan. You know, that era where we had the samurais and everything. And this time, you know, it's coming at a time where the colonialism is kind of taking root, you know. So these samurais are who are the best of the best, are put in this scenario where they have to slay each other and survive the night. And we also have them trying to stand up for their community, as you know, the colonial era is being ushered into Japan. Go see the trailer. I've seen this. I'm definitely watching this for the fights. On top of learning more about this period of time in Japan. It's definitely looking like an absolute action banger. I don't know about the shelf life because it's very showy. The trailer is very showy, leading with the fights, but definitely the story has something to offer. So if you're going nowhere and they'll be spending time at home binging, Last Samurai Standing Season 1 is for you. And of course, let's catch up on what's been going on. The other episodes that are still running, Pluribus is still going on. Welcome to Derry is also still going on, which are favorites here at Certified Cinema. And of course, Watuangwa Power Book 4 Force, the final season, the story of Tommy Egan, is also still going on, dropped last week. So catch up on those. And I will also personally be catching up on Toy Story 4 just to get more to know about where we left off as we wait for Toy Story 5. So to cap it all off for you, Read the Room this week. Our top picks: 1, Running Man, dropping November 14th in cinemas. That's Friday, tomorrow, November 14th. Rush to see it at the biggest screen possible. Number 2, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, also coming to cinemas this Friday, November 14th. So the cinema has a double feature for you. Again, always get to see the best of the best movies on the big screen. Different beast of an experience. We have coming to Netflix Last Samurai Standing Season 1, which is a story that follows this samurai as they've been put in this death games kind of situation within a colonial era of Japan. And finally, let's catch up with Toy Story 4 as we get to hear more about Toy Story 5 as the news and the teasers keep coming in. So that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up Read the Room for us today, and of course wraps up the show for us today. Thank you so much for being wonderful sports. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving us your comments through and through. I have been your ever dependable host, movie reviewer, movie recommender, and nerd evangelist, Campus Nawiri. And this is Icon Radio. You are listening to Certified Cinema. See you next week. We do this Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Signing out with another one for our beloved, the late Tesh, the DJ. Remember, we are in a season of mourning right now. Keep us in your prayers. Keep Tesh, his soul, and his family in your prayers during this tough time of mourning. And this is another one that goes out to you, Tesh. May you rest in peace. Signing off with Kendrick Lamar with Sing About Me, because we will sing about you here at Icon Radio now and forever. Peace.